Hello and welcome to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic. In this video, we are going to discuss the quintessential cards needed to build the core of a combat-centric commander deck with Isshin 2 Heavens as 1 as its general. Since his release in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, Isshin 2 Heavens as 1 has become not just one of the most popular commander options in Mardu colors, but he has become one of the most popular commander options in all of Magic. Isshin is a highly favored Mardu alternative alongside the likes of Kalia of the Vast and Edgar Markov. Typical Mardu commander decks want combat to be the focal point. A deck helped by Isshin is no different. Let's discuss why. Isshin 2 Heavens as 1 is a 3/4 legendary human samurai for Mardu colors and has the following Mardu-friendly attack trigger. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent we control to trigger, that ability triggers again. The core of an EDH deck with Isshin as its general optimizes combat by synergizing peripheral attack triggers with Isshin's own strionic resonator-like triggered ability. Through the rewards of doubling these attack triggers with Isshin, we will overwhelm our opponents and claim victory through combat. We begin the core of this build by focusing on cards with powerful attack triggers, each of which will double in the presence of our general. Since this is a combat-centric theme, let's first establish an army. Adeline Resplendent Cathar creates a 1/1 white human creature token tapped and attacking each opponent whenever we attack, and she doesn't even need to enter into combat for her ability to trigger. Leonin Warleader creates two 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink whenever it attacks. Whenever Hanweir Garrison attacks, we create two 1/1 red human creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. With Hero of Bladehold, we create two 1/1 white human creature tokens that are tapped and attacking whenever she attacks. As a bonus, Hero of Bladehold gives other attacking creatures +1/+0 whenever she attacks through her Battlecry ability. Isshin doubles each of these triggers when he's on our side of the battlefield. The number of creature tokens created through Krenko, Tin Street Kingpin's attack trigger varies as it is power dependent. Whenever Krenko attacks, we put a +1/+1 counter on it and then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to its power. Whenever Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, we create two 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Delina, Wild Mage, creates a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of target creature we control, except it's not legendary, and if we roll our lucky d20, then maybe we can roll again and create even more. Whenever we attack with a non-token creature, Mardu Ascendancy creates a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. Whenever we attack with one or more creatures, Rabble Rousing creates a number of 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens equal to the number of those attacking creatures. Rabble Rousing's token creating ability could get out of hand very quickly, especially if Isshin is overseeing its production through his presence on our side of the battlefield. As our opponent's life totals plummet, let's accelerate this process by including some cards with direct damage and life-draining attack triggers. With Mishra claimed by Gix, whenever we attack, each opponent loses X life and we gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. This attack trigger is sufficiently powerful on its own, but there is another impactful option. If Mishra and Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking, and we both own and control them, then we exile them and meld them into Mishra, lost to Phyrexia. Whenever Mishra, lost to Phyrexia, enters the battlefield or attacks, we choose three of the following 6 triggers. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Mishra deals 3 damage to any target, destroy target artifact or planeswalker, Creatures we control gain menace and trample until end of turn. Creatures we don't control get -1/-1 until end of turn. Or we create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens. Through this dynamic, we deprive our opponents of resources, both in their hands and on their sides of the battlefield. For another Mishra-like ability, whenever Commissar Severine Rain attacks, each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of other attacking creatures. As an additional bonus, we can pay 2 and sacrifice a creature in order to gain 2 life and draw a card. With Brutal Horde Chief, whenever a creature we control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and we gain 1 life. Campaign of Vengeance has the same ability as Brutal Horde Chief, and its inclusion provides important redundancy for our theme. And it is also an enchantment, which generally has greater staying power on the battlefield. With Hellrider, whenever a creature we control attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. Tectonic Giant deals direct damage to our opponents, or provides card advantage whenever it attacks or becomes a target of an opponent's spell. It's reasonable to believe that many of our creatures will die during combat. Let's punish our opponents for this by including Brazen Cannonade. Whenever our attacking creatures fall during combat, this enchantment deals 2 damage to each opponent. As a bonus, the card advantage produced by Brazen Cannonade's second ability will keep the heat on our opponents. Now that we've created our army, it's time to enhance it and protect it. Adriana, Captain of the Guard, has melee and gives other creatures we control melee. In a 4-player game with Adriana and Isshin on our side of the battlefield, as long as we attack each opponent with at least 1 creature, each of our attacking creatures will get +6/+6 until end of turn. Adriana is a win condition when paired with Isshin. Fervent Charge gives creatures we control +2/+2 until end of turn whenever they attack, and also can be considered a win condition when paired with Isshin. Tori Davenant, Fury Rider, gives all other attacking creatures we control +1/+1 until end of turn whenever she attacks. Other attacking red creatures gain trample until end of turn, and we untap other attacking white creatures. Tori provides a little combat enhancement to our red and white creatures. Dolmen Gate prevents all combat damage dealt to attacking creatures we control, while Reconnaissance allows us to remove target attacking creature we control from combat and untap it. It neither deals nor receives combat damage. This enchantment provides endless combat tricks and chicanery, while giving our opponents endless headaches at the commander table. Each combat phase we enter brings us closer and closer to victory, so let's get more of them. Relentless Assault untaps all creatures that attacked this turn and gives us an additional combat phase and an additional main phase. Waves of Aggression is a repeatable form of Relentless Assault through its retraceability, as is Aggravated Assault with its activated ability. Resurgence provides an extra combat phase and main phase, in addition to giving creatures we control First Strike and Vigilance until end of turn. Whenever we attack, if it's our first combat phase of the turn, Karlach, Fury of Avernus, untaps our attacking creatures and gives them First Strike until end of turn. After this phase, we get an additional combat phase. It wouldn't be a red and white combat-centric deck without Aurelia, the War Leader. When Aurelia attacks for the first time each turn, we untap all creatures we control and gain an additional combat phase. Remember, the additional combat phases triggered by Karlach and Aurelia are triggered again with Isshin. Now let's splash some value into this core for the purposes of optimizing our resources. Battle Angels of Tyr has a ton of value in this type of build. Why? Because Battle Angels of Tyr has Myriad, so whenever it attacks, for each opponent other than defending player, we may create a token that's a copy of it tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. The tokens are exiled at the end of combat. With Isshin, we create 2 token copies of Battle Angels of Tyr for each of those opponents instead. With its evasion, we should be able to deal combat damage to our opponents, so we should reap the benefits of card advantage, mana acceleration, and possibly life gain. Speaking of card advantage, Etali Primal Storm exiles the top card of each player's library whenever it attacks. We may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana costs. Imagine playing a game of EDH against 3 opponents and sending Etali into combat with Isshin on our side of the battlefield. we could possibly cast 8 spells without paying their mana costs. For the purposes of recursion, Sun Titan will return a permanent with mana value 3 or less from our graveyard to the battlefield whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks. Sword of the Animist will fetch 2 basic lands from our library instead of 1, with Isshin on our side of the battlefield. Isshin's attack trigger allows for some versatility when brewing a deck around him. Since any creature attacking causes Isshin's ability to trigger, we can take advantage of this by including some cards that exploit this benefit. We can stymie our opponent's desire to attack us with Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. With Isshin on our side of the battlefield, we create a 3/3 red ogre creature token for each creature attacking us, unless that creature's controller pays 6 mana. Mangara the Diplomat puts cards into our hand if an opponent attacks us or a planeswalker we control with 2 or more creatures. This ability also triggers if an opponent casts their second spell each turn, but it will not be doubled by Isshin. Hissing Miasma is an enchantment that says whenever a creature attacks us, that creature's controller loses 1 life. Taking this one step further, whenever a creature attacks us or a planeswalker we control, Revenge of Ravens will cause that creature's controller to lose 1 life, and we gain 1 life. Whenever Ember Wild Captain enters the battlefield, we become the Monarch. And whenever an opponent attacks us while we're the Monarch, Ember Wild Captain deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. When Isshin is on our side of the battlefield, imminent victory is just 1 combat away. This video provided a blueprint for building the core of a combat-centric commander deck around Isshin 2 Heavens as 1 as its general. Removal spells, disruption, ramp, and the land base can vary from build to build and also are dependent on metagame preferences and availability. The cards discussed during this video are suggested options for taking advantage of Isshin's triggered ability, in addition to providing ways to optimize this theme. Let me know your thoughts about these recommendations in the comments section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic.